Okay, good evening. This East Lyme Board of Selectmen regular meeting. We're at the East Lyme Town Hall, upper meeting room. It's August 5th at 7 o'clock. Those who can, would you rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So we're gonna adjust our agenda slightly. We're going to recognize two of the East Lyme Ambulance Service members this evening, but one of them's on a call. So when she is done on the call, then we'll interrupt our agenda at that time.
Dan, do you want a motion to amend the agenda, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Can I hear a motion?
Okay, we're going to move to amend the agenda to, I guess, put in the recognition of emergency medical technicians, Ella Chiassen and Anna Lindberg, when they arrive, because one of them is on a call now and will be back shortly.
Do I hear a second? Yeah, I have a second. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, do we have any additional agenda and consent calendar items this evening? Okay. Are there any public delegations that would like to address the Board of Selectmen? Anyone that would like to speak, just come to the podium and just please give your name and your address so we have that for the record.
Kathy Elliott, 45 Heritage Road. I've lived there for 46 years, and I'm here tonight because when I was visiting my son Jesse in Manhattan, he pointed out the flock cameras to me, and we pulled up the website and saw where they are in East Lyme. Shortly thereafter, I noticed that they were part of our budget. I would like to state that I am very much against any citizen surveillance cameras in our town until there is a policy in place clearly stating all guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Good evening, my name is Alex Manoring, 20 Old Black Point Road, and I would also like to speak on the topic of the flock safety cameras. I understand these cameras can be a very useful investigative tool, but my main concern is not whether they have value, but rather whether we have adequate safeguards to protect the privacy of everybody who isn't suspected of committing a crime. Specifically across the country, there have been numerous documented cases of officers improperly accessing license plate reader systems for personal reasons outside of the scope of legitimate investigations. So first, I'd like to understand how long data is being collected and whether it's automatically deleted after 30 days or if our town retains it for a longer period of time. Secondly, who has access to this data? Is it limited to our police department or is it being shared with other local, state, or federal agencies? Third, are all searches logged and regularly audited? And if so, who reviews those audits and how often are they performed, and are those results going to be available to the public? Fourth, have we ever considered whether we would make that data retention policy public as well as the findings of those audits public and the overall flock use policy? Because I think technology that can track the movements of thousands of law-abiding citizens deserves meaningful transparency and accountability. And thank you for your time, and I hope these questions can be answered publicly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Hi, Lillian Catherine LaFemina, 2 Bramble Bush Drive, Niantic, Connecticut. Gosh, I will say I'm also against flock, which is why I'm here today. I've been noticing it popping around. I think there's one near Rocky Neck. And I will say that there's been a lot of stories about, as we've just heard, people accessing flock cameras and using it for not such great deeds. There's a scenario going around online where a news story broke where a woman was tracked across state lines using flock cameras to see where she got an abortion and how she went about it because it was illegal in her home state. And with the unfortunate presence of ICE and the threat that brings to our community, I'm very concerned that these flock cameras could be used in ways that are harmful rather than helpful. I want to see funding go to protect our town, but not just to kind of make its citizens afraid. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do we have anyone else who would like to address the board? If you would say your name, please.
Absolutely. My name is Gus Schmidt. I live on 8 Morris Lane. I was here last in January when the topic of the speed cameras came up, and I was in opposition to those then, as I still am today, in addition to any of the other surveillance technology that's out there, including but not limited to flock. There's other things, Axon, all sorts of different new super whammy things that are designed to basically track people around town without them knowing it. I had also drafted a letter that I'd sent to the board back in January. I don't know if anybody received it because I never received a response. It was a great letter talking about the topic of speed cameras, and not saying that they're not without use or merit, because there's certainly some merit to them. I just think based on the evidence, the data that was presented at that meeting, there was no need for them. I think Jason, with the help of some members at DOT at the state level, gathered some data that showed that there was really no need for those cameras here. In that letter, I posed 9 questions, although it was more like 40 questions because each question had about 4 embedded in there, asking a bunch of questions about that specific technology, how it was used, who audits it, who verifies that what they say it's actually doing and not more. Is there an ability for that technology to be upgraded later with or without the notice of the town of East Lyme that can enhance the capabilities of it to do more than what was originally advertised? So if you did receive that letter, I'd highly recommend reading it. It was a great letter. It probably took me a couple hours to do.
If you'd like to submit that into our meeting minutes, you may.
I would be more than happy to do that. And then turning more towards the flock, which I think a lot of people are here to discuss, which are even worse than the speed cameras by far. I'm a recovering lawyer, so I'm a big fan of Louis Brandeis, who, his thing was we had a fundamental right to be let alone, right? And that fundamental right just being ripped away day by day with advances of new technology that are being forced on us, being surveilled by all sorts of cameras, electronic sniffing devices, IMSI catchers, the things that will act like fake cell phone towers that they put out at protests or gatherings of people who, they may not want to gather. And so, I had some prepared remarks. I'm not going to go through them in the interest of time, other than hit the highlights maybe. I think one of the big questions with these flock cameras is, are they actually even legal, especially under the recent Supreme Court precedent? I'm sure, I know we have at least one lawyer on the board here, maybe 2. Okay, so we all know, at least you guys have certainly been up to speed on the Carpenter versus United States and the progeny thereafter, basically saying we're not giving up just because we have a cell phone that has the ability to track us, which they do. They are personal tracking devices too. There's ways to kind of mitigate that, which I certainly employ, and I encourage others to do that as well. But we don't give up our rights just because we have that. And the more advanced that these technologies become, the more likely they are to infringe upon people's fundamental rights. And it's only a matter of time until there's a successful lawsuit, and hopefully it doesn't involve the town of East Lyme, for abridging on people's rights. And we have to write a check for hundreds of thousands of dollars to a plaintiff because one of our cameras was used unlawfully, and someone was arrested improperly because the AI algorithm misread a license plate number and they thought it was a stolen car, but it really was a misread license plate number. It wasn't the target they were actually seeking, and something happened. It's only a matter of time. Those things are happening now, by the way. AI is arguably useful in lots of capacities, but it's it's still in the beta phase, I would say, right now, and it makes a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes are multiplying almost seemingly on an exponential basis. You go to 404 Media, and every day there's a new story about how this technology screwed up and misidentified somebody with facial recognition or misread a license plate, and all of a sudden, the police are coming out guns drawn on a family who's just trying to go to the movies, kids in the back, and they're held at gunpoint unlawfully, and it's just happening. So I think the other thing, the police department will advocate for these for arguably reasonable reasons. Part of the problem I have with some of that advocacy is it's a little bit disingenuous, and that was exposed when it was discovered that Flock was essentially giving these handbooks out to police departments, basically telling them how to choreograph their testimony in front of boards and commissions and in front of citizens to basically downplay the concerns of the citizenry and say, hey, these we need these for policing. Well, we haven't had them before. This town's done just fine on crime. I mean, I've lived in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, San Diego. East Lyme is like, there's pretty much zero crime in my mind in this entire town. Maybe there's a little larceny here or there, but nothing like what I'm used to back down in South Florida, where it's a little crazy. One of the other interesting things, and this was kind of brought up at a meeting recently that I hadn't thought about, but the implications of safety, like traffic safety with these flock cameras. Who's approving them? Who's inspecting them to ensure that they meet the standards of DOT, for roadside safety installed equipment? I mean, there are standards for doing that. I don't know what they are. I haven't looked into it, but it was an interesting point. And there's actually a guy out there who is looking into this, called the Guardrail Guy, his daughter died as a result of a car accident due to an obstruction that was on the side of the road that was improperly put there in contravention to state law, and the car impacted it and she died. So these things are hazards. They're put close to the roadways, so who's policing that aspect of it, I guess. And just because I don't want to take up everybody's time here, I'll quickly bring it to an end. But to the speaker before me, her point about, I think it was her point, about ensuring there's safeguards. I'm not saying we need to ban every single piece of surveillance technology. I think there is probably a proper use in a very limited circumstance for that to be employed properly. But properly is the key word. And so I think there needs to be some safeguards put up in advance before we start, approving these things, installing them, and then a continual audit process. And lucky for the board, I've actually gone ahead and drafted an ordinance, a big, beautiful ordinance, as that some might call it. But it does just that, and what it would do is say, hey, if we want to install any sort of surveillance technology, let's notice the public, say, hey, we're thinking of installing this, this is what it does, this is how we're going to use it, this is where it's going to go, we're going to have a meeting, and send that notice out 3 weeks before the meeting so people can come and voice their concerns on it. And then, after all the proper notice and deliberation, if it's approved, great, it gets installed, but there's a continual reporting obligation by the department or municipal entity who's actually using it, to annually report, say, hey, this is where we have it, this is how we've used it, there's been no adverse impacts, we've received no complaints, or we have received complaints, or there has been adverse impacts, some sort of continuous reporting that will ensure that how we said we were going to use it, we are using it in that way, and there aren't any unforeseen consequences as a result of that. So I guess I can submit that into the record as well. And great ordinance. Probably took me a couple hours to draft. So if I was billing at my old rate, that's saving the town $2,000. Thank you.
Be sure to leave it
Well, you have to
with the
leave
clerk.
it. Yeah.
Do we
Are you
do
going to leave it right here?
No, bring it right over to the clerk's table.
Sandy, just.
Yeah, and
she
she'll
can step
receive
down.
it, and she'll
Yeah.
make it part of the record
Thank
this
you,
evening.
Mr. Schmidt.
Hi
Okay.
there, how are you?
Hello, good evening.
What's your name?
Brian Lepkowski, 27 Green Valley Lakes Road.
Hi there.
I'm going to begin with the definition and explanation of the word dystopia, as it appears in a Google search. Dystopia is an imaginary place or society where people lead fearful, wretched, and unfair lives. The word comes from the Greek roots meaning bad place. It is the exact opposite of a utopia, which is a vision of a perfect ideal world. Key features of a dystopian society are a strict government or total power that controls every part of life, no freedom where people cannot speak freely, think for themselves, or act as individuals, constant watching, leaders using high-tech technology or guards to spy on everyone, deep fear where citizens feel unsafe, poor, or separated from nature and community. A lot of extremist things there. But if you can make even remote connections between that and, what we're talking about when, in today's world with all of the surveillance and all of these things, it would be easy to see why I'm opposed to any types of citizen surveillance devices installed in our town. This includes automatic license plate readers, traffic cameras for speed, or any other forms of tech-based monitoring or tracking devices which seek to erase the very structure of our justice system. Initially sold to the public under the guise of improved safety, yet all that it has measurably improved is the income of tech oligarchs and the municipalities who choose to exploit their own residents under this illusion. I am certain that our ancestors, veterans, and those currently in active duty did not sacrifice everything to protect freedom and liberty for oligarchs like Garrett Langley, the CEO and co-founder of Flock Safety, who's yet another 30-something tech billionaire with a quick and profitable, ill-conceived solution to a much larger and unresolved underlying issue. This particular tech company is so arrogant that they chose to name their company after a herd of sheep in an open display of their absolute disdain towards the citizens of this country. For this and many other reasons, I am asking the board to reconsider prior mistakes and remove all traffic cameras and monitoring devices from our town immediately. To do anything else at this point is considered a further advance towards dystopia. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, would anyone else like to address the board? And again, if you could just give us your name and your address.
Hi, Kevin Mills, 58 Riverview Road.
Thank you, Kevin.
I am on the alternate on the Planning Commission, but I'm not here in that role. I am here about the surveillance technology. There have been a lot of good points made, and I agree with them. My comments are more geared towards the members of the board that might care about our Constitution. Most people are aware that there's no expectation of privacy in the public, and that courts have generally permitted short-term public observation. These AI surveillance cameras are different. They violate our Fourth Amendment rights because they continuously identify, track, and analyze all movement. This data is then available to law enforcement across the country without a warrant. There's also been many recorded instances of non-law enforcement individuals gaining unauthorized access to this valuable data. Our first selectman has been quoted as saying, "The privacy ship has sailed." This is, I believe, in reference to our cell phones. We all grant permission to cell providers when we sign the contract. We, the people, have signed no such contract with you, the police department, or Flock. Dan, there's also many ways to effectively block your cell phone from being tracked. Candace, my family and I have personally experienced how much you value your privacy. I hope those concerns are translated to this surveillance technology. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Would anyone else like to address the board? Please, if you come up and just state your name.
Hi, Lisa McGowan, 33 Spinnaker. So I also did come, I believe it was the January meeting, speaking strongly against the license plate readers for the below reasons. The first one being people seeking abortion care in our state, gender affirming care at our large city hospitals here, ICE surveillance of folks in our town, our communities, custody battles, possibly a custody battle, or even a divorce case. And I'd like to kindly ask the board here and the citizens of East Lyme to follow the ACLU guidelines, which is asking for a statewide moratorium on license plate readers and flock cameras, citing mass surveillance and privacy risks. The organization Field Public Records requests with dozens of police officers and departments over concerns that the driver location data is shared across state lines and with federal agencies. So, I am a veteran, I am a healthcare provider, and I've also recently actually lost my job at IRIS, the refugee center in New Haven. So I'd hate to see any of that group of folks that I know and care about affected by the misuse of the cameras. I do believe in the town of East Lyme we've come a long way with our public safety, building up the public's trust. But I also think the burden of proof for the safety cameras is on the board, and it's on the public safety people, not on the citizens. The burden of proof sits with the people in front of me and sits with the public safety board. So thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Lisa. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? Just please, again, your name and your address.
Hello, I'm Reuben Shaver, 200 Roxbury Road. My thoughts on the necessity in a town like East Lyme for these cameras is 100% no. If our police department feels the need for these cameras for them to properly police the speeds in this town, then should we consider switching to a state trooper system? Because to me, that's an admission of the town's police saying that they're incapable of doing their job. I do not want cameras around me or my family to keep track of the freedom that I choose to have. And I would like to also quote Benjamin Franklin saying, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have anyone else this evening? Yes, please. Again, you know the drill. State your name and address, please.
Alan Buckholz, 11 McKinnon Place, East Lyme. My neighbor. I wasn't really intending, I was not actually even aware of this meeting until my son informed me about an hour ago. And my issues with flock camera have been enumerated by a number of the folks here. I didn't hear everyone. But one of the things that I'm concerned about is we had a referendum relative to the speed cameras. I was unaware, I actually at this point still don't know how long the flock cameras have been installed in this town. I know where they are at this point. Every time I walk across Nyannick River Bridge in the evening, I look down at the flock camera. I look at the one by the IGA. The issue I have is the regulations, as a number of people have pointed out, are unclear. We don't have a sense of who controls that data for how long, and it has not been a choice. If I go to Lowe's or I go to Walmart and I'm aware that there are flock cameras there, I have a choice to shop at those places. I don't have that choice to drive into Waterford from either a 156 or on Boston Post Road, or out to Old Lyme on 156. And the installation seemed to have occurred in the absence of town awareness, perhaps with the exception of the board. And I would ask, as others have, that this be re-reviewed and determine whether this is appropriate for a town this size. We've had major cities, Los Angeles a month ago, withdrew their flock camera system. Staunton, Virginia, at the behest of their citizens, withdrew from flock camera systems. And Garrett Langley, as others have pointed out, the CEO of Flock, called them terrorists, wrote a letter to the police chief in Staunton, Virginia, indicating he was being confused by terrorists who were advocating against the safety of the U.S. That's simply not the case. We're simply concerned about how information about us is used by a private corporation that was founded to earn money at our expense. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else at this point that would like to comment? Anyone else that would like to comment? Yes, please.
My name is Reed McFarland. I live at 12 Acorn Drive. I'm here in deep opposition to these cameras. The thing that I find incredibly concerning about them is that there have been reports of police officers from other states tracking their ex-girlfriends, their ex-wives, and other women that they have had interest in and have abused that power to do so. And there have also been a number of women who have been tracked across multiple state lines seeking reproductive care. And I don't want these cameras in my town tracking women who may be coming here looking for reproductive care. So the one thing that I want to say is all the people here who have spoken have been incredibly nice and respectful about the things that they've said. The thing is that there's a lot of people in this town who aren't speaking here, who are not going to be nice and who are not going to be respectful and take those cameras down themselves. So it's sort of a matter of how long are you going to allow these cameras to stay up before people start taking them down themselves. Thanks.
All right, thank you for your comments. Anyone else that would?
Yeah, there's a lady in the back. Come on.
I'm sorry?
There's a lady in the back. She's
Oh,
coming
yeah.
now.
Purba Mukherjee, 5 Peach Lane. I was wondering, now that there is such a big movement against the flock cameras all over the United States, I wouldn't be surprised if folks like you who represent us would withdraw them, possibly. But it leaves open the question of technology and improvement in technology. What is to stop a company like Flock or some other company to deploy drones, for example, to surveil towns? So my question is broader. As we learn this lesson and perhaps give people the right to take down Flock, give people like you, our representatives, to take down the Flock, what happens in the future when the next technology comes along? What is the safeguard there so that, because you guys are our representatives today, you will respect us and hopefully take down the Flock cameras, but whoever takes over from you, what's the institutional memory of this? What will be in place, a safeguard? Will you ask our permission? Will you tell us the next time you're faced with a choice like this to put on some new technology? So I'm essentially looking for some kind of long-term view where there is a guarantee. There's no guarantees in real life, but still some kind of guarantee that this sort of thing does not happen ever again without folks in town knowing that it's happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak? Please feel free to come up, and we're interested in what you have to say.
My name is Jasmine Diebel. I live at 5 McKinnon Place, and I just wanted to briefly talk about the youth mental health crisis. And I think that these flock cameras are simply just going to be the cherry on top of the cocktail of nightmares that we are serving to the generation that is set to take over your spaces. I know many of you are on the older side and perhaps have benefited from a pretty decent world, but every year I feel like I'm watching the life that I've dreamed for myself since I was little slip away. The earth, the climate is being destroyed. The wealth gap increases every year. People are dying. People are being killed. War is happening. At the very least, we deserve a little bit of privacy so we can cry. Just wanted to say that. I think this is really stupid.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thanks, guys.
Anyone else? And please do not feel inhibited in coming up. Please do. And again, your name for the record.
Hi, David Buskey, 1 Corey Lane. Most of the good points have already been made. There's not a lot left for me to say. What I can say is that there is a lot more interest in this than I thought there was. I made a really quick post on the community forum on Facebook, and it's got 100 and something people interested in it. There's a lot of discussion going on. And for the first time in probably a decade, I've seen a nonpartisan issue. Everybody from every side hates this. And I hope you guys really take that into account, that it doesn't matter the left, the right, the middle, the up, the down. Nobody likes it. And we would all like it very much if you guys would help us out and take care of this.
Thank you. Anyone else? Don't be bashful, come on up. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on, I want to thank everyone that had the courage to sit down and address this issue with the board. It's an important issue and one that needs to be vetted. I'll say a few more comments later in the agenda about it. But for right now, we'll move to the next item, which is, are we good? Okay, all right. So we are going to back up a moment, and we have 2 women that are members of the emergency management technicians with the East Lyme Ambulance Association. Good evening. Have a seat right there if you like, front and center. And let's see.
Welcome.
Yep. So we have Anna and Ella. Now, Anna, you're Anna, and we have Ella. Okay, great. So, let me explain. Anna and Ella were involved in there was a motor vehicle accident at Rocky Neck State Park, and it was a situation where a car went into a motor home, a structure where people were living, a camper, and there were some serious injuries, and it took out a fire hydrant, so you had a gusher of water. You had a whole crowd of people that were at Rocky Neck vacationing that were, surrounding the situation. And, we had both Ella and Anna, they were responding, and they, from what I've read and everything I understand, they stayed completely focused on patient care. They made sure that despite all the bedlam that was going on around them, they were true to their mission. They took care of the patient, and we want to recognize that tonight. And so I have here 2 proclamations, and I'm going to read this into the record. And I'm going to read this. This is for both of you, but I have individual proclamations, one for each of you. So, whereas emergency medical technicians, EMTs, serve on the front lines of emergency medical care, responding at all hours to protect the lives, health, and well-being of members of our community. And through their professionalism, compassion, and unwavering commitment to public service, EMTs provide critical medical care during emergencies, often under challenging and unprecedented circumstances. And whereas on July 11th, 2026, at Rocky Neck State Park, the dedicated EMTs of the East Lyme Ambulance Service demonstrated exceptional courage, skill, and teamwork during a hectic and confusing motor vehicle accident, utilizing exemplary clinical and situational judgment and exemplifying the highest standards of their profession. And whereas the residents of the town of East Lyme are deeply grateful for the sacrifices made by EMTs and recognize the vital role they play in safeguarding the health and safety of all people. Now therefore, I, Daniel R. Cunningham, First Selectman of the town of East Lyme, do hereby proclaim our sincere appreciation and recognition of Anna Lindberg and Ella Chasen. Did I get that right? Okay. For their exemplary service, outstanding professionalism, and heroic actions. I encourage all residents to join in honoring these dedicated public servants for their commitment to excellence, their courage under pressure, and their steadfast devotion to preserving life and serving our community. Given under my hand and seal of the town of East Lyme this 5th day of August, 2026, 187th year of our town. So congratulations, and let me present this to you. So this is a proclamation of these things that I wear all the time. Reminds me of what I'm supposed to be doing up here or something. Yeah, congratulations. We're very proud of you. We're very fortunate to have you serving our town and in the ambulance service. Doing a wonderful job. Okay, this is easy now. Ella, I got it right. So again, here's the proclamation. I'll present that to you. Thank you again. I have a pen for you as well. Thank you very much. And thanks for taking time to be here tonight. I know the one of you who was called to duty that you were yeah. So thank you. Thank you for that. All right.
Thank you so much.
See you later. Okay. Oh, we're very fortunate. Okay, so now we will turn to the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of July 1st, 2026. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the regular meeting minutes of July 1st, 2026 as submitted.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, any corrections to the minutes? I'm not aware of any, as we said. All in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or any abstentions? I note that Roseanne is not here tonight, but the motion carries. All right, the next is the consent calendar. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the consent calendar for August 5th, 2026 in the amount of $3,591.11.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. A lot of small, most of them are small adjustments, probably overpayments. Any discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. All right. Next on the agenda is discussion and possible action, services to community for the 26-27 budget. We have $9,790 to distribute. So there is in the packet, I think, a printout. So this, we've been
Thank you.
struggling with this, I guess you might say.
Well, to get it right.
What's that?
To get it right.
Yeah, that's the right idea. We want to make sure that we do the right thing. And so there was an initial group that had submitted a timely request, and we distributed checks to that initial group. But then we felt that it was only right. There was some confusion as to whether or not everybody had proper notice. So we re-noticed it and made sure that everyone had notice so that they could submit an application. And so we have a list of those that requested. And tonight we're going to deal with those requests. Okay. So let's see.
I have a proposal, just to,
Okay.
that's all right?
Yes, we have, this so we can distribute we want to end up distributing the $9,790, and we have, as part of the packet, those that submitted requests. So yes, I'd be interested to hear your proposal.
So what I was thinking is the shoreline, there's 10 different entities. So the way I looked at it was the Shoreline Soup Kitchen and Pantry requested $500. So I recommended $500 for them. So
let's go, all right, for which one, the first one is, you're recommending it?
I'm kind of bouncing around, but it will make sense in a
Okay,
minute.
all right.
So, all right, and then the next one for $1,000 is the East Lyme Scholarship Association, so I wanted to give them $1,000.
And I'm sorry, could you pause for a minute? I'm looking at this top sheet that was passed out over here and sent around to us, right? That's what you're looking at?
No, we're looking at, we were emailed the list of,
Like all the requests.
of the requests and the amounts that they requested. So that's what I was looking at.
But according to this document, which is over here, and I think was sent out to us earlier, the request was $500 for the Shoreline Soup Kitchen and Pantries, and they were granted $450 in the 2026 budget. So that matter's already been decided, has it not?
No, that was last year. We're talking about next year now.
So we're looking at
We're
fiscal year
looking at-
2027?
We're looking at 2027.
2027.
Yeah, 2027.
That's what we did in the
Requested
past.
500.
So this year, they requested 500.
We haven't approved anything.
We haven't approved anything. And so what I'm trying to
She's
do
making a
is
suggestion.
making a suggestion as to how we could distribute the funds.
Okay.
So there was, hold on, is it, Sandy, did you pass that out, or
Yeah,
is
the
it just an
packet.
email?
No, it's right here.
Yeah, there's a packet.
You can have
It's
this
the
one.
same one that we have here that
Yeah,
was,
I have- I'm
oh wait,
good.
this was up here when I took it.
Yeah, so that was emailed,
Yep.
and it
That's this, right?
shows,
Yeah.
I went through all of these.
Yeah, you went
What
through-
I did, I went through them all.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, I wanted to give Shoreline Soup Kitchen and Pantry $500 because that's what they requested. I wanted to give the East Lyme Scholarship Association $1,000 because that's what they requested. After that, there are 8 entities left, and I divided the rest of the money by 8, and I got $1,036.25 for the rest of the entities, given that we only have $9,790.
So 1,000, what was it? 1,000?
I said 1,000 to the East Lyme Scholarship Association,
Yep.
and then 500 to the Shoreline Soup Kitchen and Pantry.
Right.
They both requested those. Those were less than everybody
Yeah.
else, right?
Mhm.
So then I took the remaining $8,290.
Yeah,
And I divided it by 8 because there was 8 more groups left.
right.
And I got $1,036.25.
Gotcha.
So, that way
Everybody
get
gets,
something.
Which is fair. Now, did we ever get an answer on the New London Homeless Hospitality Center and if we are obligated and or not, and if there's a set amount? We did? Oh, who's answering me from somebody just answered me. But
for the,
That was a Kevin question. I don't think they ever responded. They don't want anything.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
so-
then, take them off the list.
They're
Yeah.
not, they can't be necessary, I don't think.
I'd like to
That's already
invite
identified.
a member of the community who's here who might have some intimate knowledge of that. I know that Anna Perch, who's here to present later, also works at the Homeless Hospitality Center and might be able to help us with a few questions.
Well, yeah, but this is for people who already
Actually put
submitted
it
the
in.
applications.
Yep. So they
So-
didn't.
Yes, but I'm under the understanding that the check for the homeless hospitality was already sent.
Last year.
That's last
that was
year.
last year.
Okay.
That's where the
You're-
clarity
yeah.
question was coming into play that nobody could answer for me at the last meeting.
This is for
This
this
year.
coming year, this year, 2027.
So I just want to be clear, because I'm not getting any clarity on it, and before it had been stated that we had an obligation because we were in some sort of partnership with other towns. It was a regional thing. So at this point, I consider it none. We are not doing that, and they would be taken off the list because there is no application for a request. There hasn't been any clarity of confirmation of having some partnership and/or having to participate in that.
So are you talking about New London Homeless
I am.
Hospitality? Okay, so I would look at it and say, if in the following years they make a
If they
request,
make a
then
request.
Right.
we
Yep.
address it.
But for here tonight, there was
There was
no
no request.
subsequent
Yeah.
request. So we're going to deal
Yeah.
with
What's in front
those
of us.
that, I think that's what we
That was
agreed
the
to do.
biggest amount. It was 3,000, 3,000, and then a request of $5,000. That's why I wanted to be very clear on it.
Yeah,
3,000. Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And then,
previously.
yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
understood.
Okay, so I think that that's fair, breaking it up the way that ended.
okay. All right, so it would be,
Everybody else did request more, but,
right.
we only have 9,790. So that's the way I kind of looked at it.
So if we check it off, so it would be Karen Share. We get the 103625?
Yes,
Yep, that's Karen Share. All right, let's just go through the list.
okay,
Well, hold on. I'm afraid I'm struggling to even get to the starting line here.
okay.
If I take this packet, which was left for us, open up to the Brian Daigle Foundation, I see that they're requesting $1,500.
Correct.
Okay. If I look at the spreadsheet here, I see that not represented in that final column.
I think that this is an older, it's an
There
older,
isn't an updated
this isn't
spreadsheet.
an older
Yeah, I don't know.
original
So Ann went
spreadsheet.
through, she didn't notice, but she went through
I went through each one individually, took notes on all of them.
Okay.
Is how I did it.
So
I
this
didn't even-
document is not helpful?
It is not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I did, yeah.
Let's start with that.
Yeah. So what I did was attach to that, I thought that was from the
Okay.
other money. So then
Thank you.
attached to that were
I'm at the
all
starting line now, Ann.
requests.
Could you say what you initially started with?
Yeah, okay. So I will explain.
Yeah, please.
So I looked at the money, there's $9,790.
Right.
Yes.
So what I did was, the person who wants the lease was Shoreline Soup Kitchen. So I granted them the 500. I recommended that. Next was East Lyme Scholarship Association for $1,000. So I would recommend that. When I subtract that from the $9,790, right, that's $1,500 from there, I get $8,290. There are 8 different organizations left. So I divided the 8,290 by 8.
Yep.
All of these other entities, I can go through it, they all want more. For instance, Blue Door wants $2,750. Brian Daigle Foundation wanted $1,500. Karen Chair of East Lyme wanted $3,000. East Lyme Police Cadets wanted $6,540. Pollinator Pathway wanted $2,000.
Right.
TVCCA wanted $5,102. UCFS wanted $2,000, and Warriors for Warriors wanted $2,500. So what I did was I took what was left and just divided it. So they would all get, the other 8 entities would get $1,036.25.
I think that makes good sense.
Yeah.
Does anyone disagree?
I didn't know.
Yep.
I just.
Can we just name them so we, just for the
Yep,
record?
yep,
Let's just,
okay.
it'd be
So
Karen
I-
Scher.
Okay, Karen Scher gets
Yep,
$1,036.25.
yep.
Tell me what's next on your
Is
list.
it Giving Garden?
Because I have a different list than you do.
So
No,
then-
the Giving Garden was from,
Oh, they already got
they
some.
already got their money.
They already got
and
their
they
money.
got 2,500.
Okay.
All right.
Then would it be Nyack Main Street?
All right, Nyack Main Street, we already gave that,
Gave
and they
them?
got 2,500 from the last
Okay.
tranche.
So why don't you just read what you have and I'll check them off and we'll do it that way. All right, so
Okay.
Karen Scher, then what's the next one that are gonna receive the 1036.25?
Okay, did you get the Blue Door?
I'll check that off.
1036.25.
Yeah, okay,
The Brian Daigle Foundation.
Okay.
1036.25.
Yep.
You got Karen Scher. East Lyme Police Cadets, 1036.25.
okay, yeah,
Pollinator Pathway of East Lyme, 1036.25.
okay,
Thames Valley Council for Community Action, TVCCA, got 1036.25.
all right,
UCFS got 1036.25.
okay,
And Warriors for Warriors got 1036.25.
okay.
Okay. The East Lyme Scholarship Association got $1,000, which is what they requested.
Right, yeah,
And Shoreline Soup Kitchen and Pantry got $500.
yeah.
Because that's what
That's
they
what they
requested.
requested, yeah.
Can you guys see my screen?
What'd you say?
Is that Kevin?
I'm sharing my screen for you guys, and I just went through it and verified all the numbers work out.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're able to see my
yeah.
screen.
So that makes sense on your spreadsheet as well, Kevin?
It does. It brings the services, the community budget down to 0.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're even. All right, that sounds, so I think we've identified all the entities that are gonna receive amounts and what the amount is.
Do you want to make a motion
Unless
on
somebody
it?
else has a different idea, you know.
I think that's a great
just-
idea.
I think make a motion and we'll decide on it if merits.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, make a motion.
do I have to read it all again?
No, I think
I'd like to make a motion that we give Shoreline $500,
Okay,
scholarship
so-
$1,000. Everybody else would divide the remaining amount of money so they each get $1,036.25. I made the
And
motion.
I second it.
We have a second.
Perfect.
Any further discussion? I think we're all the same mind. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And Roseanne is absent. Okay, very good. I'm glad we were able to finally sort that out and get it right. And thank you for everybody and everyone's diligence. Candace, thank you for holding us to a high standard. Huh?
Yes, yes.
All right, we're trying to get it right, so I think we did. All right, good. Okay, next on the agenda is the appointment of a blight enforcement officer. So I'll just give a little background on that. Previously, I don't know how many years ago or how long ago, but at one time, the zoning enforcement officer held both positions as zoning enforcement and the blight enforcement officer. And that made sense because there's two different statutory approaches to dealing with distressed properties. And so it makes sense, or it made sense then, to have the same person filling both roles. That way, if it fit into violating the zoning ordinance, they could act, or they could use the discretion to go with the blight ordinance. At some point, there was a decision to separate those two roles, and I think it's time to put them back together for the same person. We now have, there was a lot of turnover in the building official office, and now we have someone that's doing a great job as the building official, and that person really wants to focus on doing inspections, and so this is a distraction and involves going to court occasionally, and our current zoning officer is comfortable if he has to go to court. So I think it makes sense to go back to the model that we had in the past, and so I'm looking for a motion to appoint William Mulholland to be the blight enforcement officer.
Move to appoint William Mulholland, zoning official, as a blight enforcement officer for the town of East Lyme, effective immediately.
I'll second.
We have a second. Okay. Any discussion? I think it's a model that worked in the past, and I think we should return to that model.
Very much needed, yes.
You agree with that? Okay. All right, then I'll put it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Roseanne is absent, so it's unanimous, one abstention. Okay. All right. Next is appointments to boards or commission. And we have the pension board, and we have two, I think, great candidates for the pension board. And we did run this by the vetting committee. I did hear back from Don McKenzie, and there was a third person that withdrew their interest,
Yes.
which is understood. And but the two remaining people are Grant Livingston. I think he's here tonight. Do I see Grant? Oh, hi, Grant. And we also, let's see, who's
Steve Larson.
Oh, Steve Larson. I don't know if Steve's here, but okay. So we'll take up Grant Livingston. His resume is attached. He has a great background for serving on the pension board. I don't know if anyone has any questions of Grant. He's here. If someone, but otherwise, we'll seek.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Grant Livingston, 14 Mohawk Drive, Niantic, as a member of the pension board of the town of East Lyme with the term to expire January 3rd, 2028.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Grant, I appreciate you being here tonight.
Could we ask him to,
Yeah.
if he wants to stand up and say a few words?
Yeah, sure. Grant, you're welcome to address the board. And you may just give us a brief summary of some of your relevant experience.
I won't talk about flock cameras.
Thank you.
Hey, you had your chance.
It's okay. Thank you. Grant Livingston, 14 Mohawk Drive. I work for the largest independently held third-party administrator in the country. I've been doing this career for 30 years. I deal with actuaries, plan sponsors on a daily basis, financial advisors. I think I could provide a lot of value, digging deep in, doing due diligence, the ethics sides of things. The pension board members are fiduciaries. I was appointed by the governor last year to the board that oversees the state mandate program. So I'm heavily involved on it. Live and breathe it, unfortunately. But want to bring that experience to East Lyme and help out how I can with that.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
sir.
your
I think
willingness
you're
to
going to be a
serve,
great fit.
Grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
I just had one question.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what is your party affiliation? I just didn't see it on here.
I think it's unaffiliated.
Is that required?
Uh,
No, I'm just kidding.
Kind of is, yeah.
No, I'm a Democrat,
Okay.
registered Democrat.
That's fine. Yeah, no, we have to have
There's a certain balance.
balanced
Yeah.
minority representation.
I'm being facetious.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you,
really
Grant.
appreciate you being here tonight.
Any further discussion? I'll call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And next is Steve Larson. And he also has considerable pension and retirement experience. He does have a letter and a resume attached to his interest letter. Yeah, again, he has significant experience I think would be very helpful to the pension board.
He was on the Board of Finance chair for 2 years also.
Yep. And he was,
In addition to all his management, financial experience.
I'd like to move to appoint Steve Larson, 185 Main Street, Unit 304, Niantic, as a member of the pension board for the town of East Lyme with a term to expire on January 7th, 2030.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion regarding Mr. Larson?
Yes, I think that he's a wonderful candidate. He's a great guy, very knowledgeable. I've worked with him for many years. He's someone who has expertise, and above all, he has wisdom. Thank you.
Yes, I would agree with Jason's comments. He has great depth and a lot of insight, and so I think we're very fortunate to have another good candidate for the pension board. Any further comments?
I do. I have a question, I guess, follow-up to Ann's previous comment for Mr. Livingston. I believe Steve Larson's political affiliation is also Democrat. Does this sway the board beyond the statute limiting, oh gosh, what's it called? Minority representation?
I think we checked it out. I think you were all set with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clear that for the record.
No, certainly we don't want to make that mistake.
Well, that's what that committee's for.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I didn't hear back, heard from Don. Yeah, okay. So, all right. Let's put it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, so thank you to Stephen. All right, let's see. And Grant, and we will move on. Thank you. All right. What's next? So with us tonight, we have Anna Perch, and...
No, one more appointment.
Oh, Brookside Farm, I'm sorry. Geez, I jumped the gun. All right, we have another appointment. What is it?
I'll make the motion and then we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Move to appoint Ashley Hanson of 15 Stone Ranch Road, East Lyme, as a member on the Brookside Farm Museum Commission for the town of East Lyme with a term to expire on January 3rd, 2028. And it says here she's unaffiliated, just so
Unaffiliated.
everybody knows.
Okay, and we have a letter here expressing her interest.
I second the motion.
We have a second. Any further discussion regarding Ashley? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'm hoping we'll see continued and more interest in the Brookside Farm Commission, and I thank Ashley for her interest. And so now I can move forward to the next item. That's it, right, for the appointments?
That is it.
All right.
Can I just
Yeah.
interrupt? Mr. Livingston? I don't think you can hear me. Mr. Livingston? So I just wanted to tell you too that for the pension board, you do need to go to the town clerk and get sworn in. Just so they're open, I think it's 8 to 4:30 or 5 o'clock every day except Friday. And then they close at 11:30. Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
And Ashley as well.
I just remembered that.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, where's on?
Yeah, over there.
Oh, you moved. All right. Good evening, Anna, and we're looking forward to your presentation.
Oh, thank you. I'm Anna Perch. I'm the curator at Brookside Farm, and I did give only today a proposal. I didn't realize that there was going to be emails that we were just brainstorming about in this package, but my final request and proposal is in the thing that I just gave you today, and there's some more of them on there.
Okay.
So we've been going back and forth since around July 1st when I discovered that my salary had been cut in half to try to figure out a way to solve that problem. And so I'm here tonight to ask you to reconsider the reduction that was made to Brookside staffing during this year's budget process, and to present a proposal that demonstrates how Brookside can absorb a significant portion of that cost through the reallocations within its own budget. So that proposal is in the newest document that I see some of you have.
That you just gave us.
Yeah, you'll see that after we reallocate things from other parts of Brookside's budget, such as $1,000 in landscaping. We don't need that $1,000 there because we have a grant that is covering that right now, and the program that we've been working on with Homegrown National Park brings our landscaping needs down to, practically zero, certainly from the town. We'll be maintaining the landscape of that on our own through, Friends money, and we're able to do that. So it's a bunch of things like that. Historic preservation costs was at $2,000. We don't need that money today because we're not doing historic preservation of any of the objects or trying to conserve the collection this year. So things like that I came up with enough reallocation that we have only about a $6,515 gap. And it's not my responsibility or purview to figure out how to address that gap within any more of East Lyme's budget, but I would ask that that is considered because, as you may or may not know, Brookside today is a very different Brookside than it was just a few years ago. We have intentionally evolved beyond the traditional historic house museum model. Because preserving a historic property alone is no longer enough to ensure long-term relevance and financial sustainability or meaningful service to the community. So we have changed up a little bit of what we do. And while history remains at the heart of Brookside, we're more about living history education. We're integrated with environmental restoration, which was desperately needed at Brookside. It had a very poor biodiversity and still does issues there, and as well as throughout much of the environment everywhere. But we are also working on education, environmental education, arts and culture, volunteerism, community engagement, and public programming. We have more or less become an extension of the community center campus. The East Lyme Public Library uses our property for more programs than we use our property for at this point. And our partnership with the library is now is really quite valuable, and that's particularly, I think, valuable to them because they have been wanting an expansion of space for a long time and not had it. And so we've figured out how to use our two properties together. And we have many plans to do, even more. So, yes, we are about to break ground on the restoring of the forest and the wetlands with a $30,000 grant that we got from the Long Island Estuaries Fund. And that is going to help us create native meadows, clean up the wetland, improve public access to that area that's been long deferred. And we're also now we're also offering concerts and educational programs, like I was just saying. So, and we are developing a lot of programming that is going to bring more funding into East Lyme over the years to come. Of course, I've been here for 3 years, and that growth has been slow because I'm already just a part-time person. And it took a little while to really invigorate a group of really impressive and dynamic volunteers that we have today who are all on board to keep moving this project going. We're also entering our 3rd year as a homegrown national park demonstration site. Next spring, we're working on that with a grant, and the end part of our grant is really rolling that out and presenting it to the whole public and making the public a true partner in that project. And one of our greatest strengths is also one of our biggest challenges, which is that we operate in a space that's quite unusual for a municipal government, which is that we are a town-owned property, but we also function like a nonprofit organization because even in the governing documents, it puts Brookside, the Friends of Brookside Farm Museum, and the commission as 2 equal entities in running Brookside Farm. So a lot of the other part of what I do, and a lot of what is going to really make it the property sustainable, is by growing the Friends group, which has not done fundraising in earnest in many, many years by writing grants, cultivating donors, recruiting volunteers, building partnerships, and generating earned revenue through our programming and our events. And so even though those aren't traditional municipal functions, it gives us an extra resource to build that property up to the way it was. So as someone who I've had a long career in nonprofits and the way this property acts and is similar, I've spent much of my career leading them, and I can tell you that organizations do not become stronger by minimizing the professional staffing, especially when you're in a position right now where we have a lot of new growth and a lot of new ambition, but we have to get over the hurdle for all of that to happen. So. You need people who are writing grants, coordinating the volunteers, managing these projects, cultivating the donors, and building the community support. So that's the only way we're going to increase the revenue and the impact that we have on the community over time. So this is the first time I feel like Brookside actually does have that capacity. This year alone, the Friends of Brookside have generated approximately $32,000 through grants, events, and fundraising. And so the role in that is to not replace, but like I said, all of that stuff is for public programming and things like that. So don't quite feel yet ready to supplement salaries. It would be a very normal part of a Friends operation to be able to do that. So hopefully someday we will, but we're just really at the beginning. So a volunteer organization is very different from a staff, or a volunteer-led organization is very different from a professional staff-led organization. Our volunteers are indispensable, but it's the professional leadership that's what coordinates all of those efforts and keeps the organization moving forward. I myself have spent more than 10 years of my career running another historic house and bringing it from $0 in fundraising. Nobody ever gave any money to that place to over $1 million a year. So I just happen to know how to do it, and now we're going to start working on it. So the proposal that you see there reallocates more than $8,000 of our own budget. So there's no new money being asked for there. And it just leaves a funding gap of $6,500. And like I said, I'm stopping there because it's not really my purview to address how that remaining gap is going to be or may be closed. We do have the possibility of asking the Friends of Brookside for that money to address that gap, but I don't think we're in a position to do that this year. The Friends group is just rebuilding. We've also committed a significant amount of funds to other projects, but that is a possibility. And like I said, in the future, it will be something that we will definitely be able to do. So let's see. Oh, and also that future grant applications, if I have the opportunity to write future grant applications, like we've been given quite a strong nod that we will be able to get a second year of funding from the Estuaries grant, is able to include staffing costs, and it can even go as far as offering health care. So all sorts of personnel costs can be added. So in the future, we can always add personnel to our grant applications. And finally, we finally feel like we have a clear mission, a realistic vision. We have active grants, we have committed volunteers, we have really experienced consultants who are very willing to lend their time and expertise. And we have some really strong partnerships. And so now I believe this is the time to build on that momentum and not slow it down. With 10 hours a week, the only thing I would really be able to get done is managing the 3 grants that we have outstanding right now. They all take a lot of time. Luckily, our volunteers immediately stepped up to the plate and said, they all offered to take on certain bits of responsibilities that are going to help with this gap if the 10 hours is what remains. But I just also want to say there are many community leaders and funding partners who have been visiting and expressing a great support for the mission and vision of Brookside. Last week, Congressman Joe Courtney visited us. The Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut now funds us and visited us. The Long Island Sound Community Impact Fund visited Senator Murphy's office, and many, many others. So I would welcome you guys, especially the people who I haven't seen over there, to certainly come and take a walk with me around the property and hear more and see more about what exactly we are doing, because it's a lot. And I think hopefully you'll be able to start to really notice those differences by the spring of next year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Yes.
I appreciate you presenting to us, and
Thank you so much.
Are we doing discussion or just presentation?
we didn't have it for discussion on the agenda, but I
Okay.
wanted Anna to be able to present to us so we can think about it a little bit, and then I think what would be appropriate is to put this on
Next agenda.
the next agenda, so we can have it as a discussion item. Does that make sense? So we can
makes sense
think
to me.
things over a little bit?
Could I just make a request?
Yeah.
Could I get, I don't know, from Anna or whomever, a list of the volunteers who are with the Friends and also from Brookside? Is
I
that
think that's a great
possible?
request because it came through my mind too.
What's that?
Yeah, that was great.
Could you submit that to Sandy, and then she can give it to all the...
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be
Yeah,
great,
good
thank
question.
you.
Oh, and also maybe the commission?
That's what I meant,
Oh.
yeah, the Brookside
Oh,
Commission
okay.
and the Friends,
So
yeah.
we can see who's involved, and we
Yeah,
can
exactly,
Yeah.
And,
yeah. That'd be great.
start to
Thank you, yeah.
figure
so
this
we
out and
understand it a little better.
rejuvenate what was in the past and see if we
Yeah.
can move forward in a better
Thank
way.
you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for all you do. I know you do so much down there. Okay. Oh. We're already up to ex officio reports. Do we have any ex officio reports tonight?
I would just speak. I'm ex officio for Brookside Farm Museum. We recently had a musical event there, and also a film crew came through and rented the barn and used it to shoot a film there, which is really exciting development, kind of cool. Something similar happened at another historic property, I believe.
What's the name of the film? Do we know?
Oh, gosh. I should know this.
Something, yeah.
Counterpoint. I don't know. It looks really cool. I'll show you a picture later.
Yeah. Counterpoint, that sounds right.
You know what? I've got it right
Yeah,
here.
just look, yeah.
Yeah. You need to know this.
For all those that are wondering, I'm
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah.
Facebook.
And also they did rent the space, so they paid for it.
Oh, it was called Choreomania
That's what
by
it was.
Coyle Girelli and Donna Di Novelli.
Wait, what's the name of it? Sorry,
Choreo.
Choreomania.
Can you
How
spell
do you
it?
spell it?
Choreomania. And I believe choreomania is a reference to a mental condition when someone starts dancing and can't stop.
Choreography, choreomania.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So yeah, Brookside is definitely becoming a cultural hub in our town, and the work that Anna's done is wonderful. Beyond that, the Harbor Management Shellfish Commission met, and nothing super exciting happened, but they're working hard to make sure our harbor is maintained and our shellfish are happy.
Okay. We want happy shellfish.
Happy clam.
Let's see, I don't have an ex officio report. The police commission does meet next week, and I'll be at that meeting. Ann? Anything?
Yeah, I'll skip for now, I'll come back in a minute. I just need to
Okay.
look up
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
Candace?
Yes, so the East Lyme Board of Ed met on July 13th, a super short meeting, no report. Additionally, a committee of the whole meeting was held where they went over board goals, Board of Ed reorganization committee. I had stated in an earlier report that the East Lyme Board of Ed was looking to even out their numbers at their elementary schools. I've emailed Sandy some information just to go into the meeting minutes to document because we have a school reorganization update, and they're looking at a timeline of discussion for August for them to discuss and then to have an answer or a board decision in November. And it's not really recommendations that I'm looking at, it's more of a menu for people to surmise and to kind of decide whether or not they want to dig deeper and or not. And what sparked it really was the uneven numbers, but from what I'm reading, we have the options from the menu. One would be status quo, would be to redistrict only between the three schools to even out the numbers. Boundaries without changing buildings and or grade structure. Scenario A appears to be Flanders becomes a K through 3 school. Haynes becomes a pre-K through 3 school with all pre-K programs centralized there. Niantic Center repurposed. Grades 4 through 5 moved to new intermediate academy, co-located on the MS campus, middle school campus, alongside and reorganized 6 through 8 program. We have scenario B, true pre-K, through 3 schools with split.
Wait, say it again, because I'm writing this down.
I'm gonna be putting it all into the meeting.
You'll
minutes.
build
Oh,
with
okay.
them.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
all
all right.
going
Oh,
in
okay.
because it's, yeah.
All right, 'cause it's a lot.
Yeah.
Can't write that fast.
No, that's why I already gave it. I'm just reading it out. So, let's see, upper academy structure at the middle school campus. Scenario C would be 2 K through 4 schools, all pre-K moving to Niantic Center. So there's a lot of conversation, which is great. So I am 100% for that. Options and what's going to be the best fit for East Lyme, right? And of course, what's best for kids at the very top of that. So they're in conversation about that. And their next meeting is on the 10th, and of course I will be in attendance, and they'll be moving on with that. But I am putting that stuff into the meeting minutes. Okay?
So it sounds like there's a lot going on, and
There is.
appreciate you being on top of
There
it and
is,
sharing that
yes.
with us. And that will get into the record, all your
All of
notes.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
Yep.
Thank you, Candace. There's a lot there.
Then there was more. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me go back to my
I'm
notes.
sure there's more.
No, I'm done with the East Lyme Board of Ed. Let's see, Park and Rec is on hold. They're going to be having a meeting fairly soon.
Yep.
And of course, last night we had National Night Out, which was a huge attendance, which was great. Every year it's bigger and better, and it's a really great community night. A very big thank you, of course, to Youth and Family, the community, the commission for all the planning and volunteering. It was outstanding. Really good stuff.
Yeah, and they had a good night for it. The rain stopped.
They really did.
Beautiful.
Yeah, perfect
it was
night
great.
for
It was
it.
a perfect night, and the kids were happy, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah,
So,
I think
it was
everybody
good.
had a nice time.
Yeah,
Very good.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Tony?
I had a good time at National Night Out too, but I'd like to get back to the Happy Shellfish because I attended a Waterbury East Lyme Shellfish Commission meeting, and their group's working well together. I learned that oysters actually keep the water clean, which doesn't
nice.
make me want to eat oysters, but
I love oysters.
Make sure you swim in the water, though.
as long as they're happy, though.
It's amazing how much they clean out of the water. If you put them in a closed environment, and then see how much. it
Whatever
cleans the
makes
water.
them happy, I'm
They're
down
happy.
with
No,
that.
they're smiling. I know. Look, they had big smiles.
I also attended a planning commission meeting, and I'm going to look more into, because I used to be a representative of the Southeast Connecticut Regional Planning Agency, which no longer exists. That was like 30 years ago. But it's been supplanted by the Council of Governments, and there's some development going on in the north end of town, and there seems to be a dispute about how close it is to the Montville border. And I want to learn more about development close to our borders and what our rights are, and so
Nice.
I want to look into that.
Good.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you, Tony.
Really
Candace?
quickly, yeah, I forgot. I wanted to just get an update for the questions that I had for Kevin at the last meeting. So we talked about the audit, okay, and that it was delinquent. So because it was late, that was affecting the East Lyme Board of Ed. And it was also affecting Youth and Family. So their grant money for July. And I wanted to get the number on that and if it's going to be reimbursed to them somehow, because of course that wasn't their fault, but it's tied into this audit that didn't make it in on time. So Kevin, if you're listening, if you're still there, I'd love an answer to that because I think that was like 2 weeks ago, or at least get back to.
Yeah, so we are waiting to finalize the audit tomorrow or maybe Friday, but we have everything finalized. Our attorneys have submitted their confirmation legal letters, so there's nothing to wait. We're just waiting for the auditors to button up their paperwork, and we'll submit once the Board of Finance approves it next Wednesday, tentatively. I'm not aware of the Board of Ed losing any funding, and I have not received an email from the state or any correspondence from the state that we've lost any grant revenue.
Okay,
I know
so-
they have threatened in the past that we would lose, or we could lose revenues, or they could stop funding for grants, but we haven't seen correspondence, unless, Dan, you've seen anything? I haven't seen anything officially delaying or stopping the payment of grants.
Okay, well then I'm gonna send an email between you, me, Dan, and Sarah Furman. That way we're all on the same page, because to my knowledge, they're losing money from July. And if
Okay.
they are losing any type of money because that is late, and it was late, that isn't their fault, and they should be reimbursed that money, and/or I want confirmation that they're gonna get that money. So I'll send that email in the morning.
Are you talking about Youth and Family Services or the Board of Ed? Because you said the Board
No,
of Ed
I'm talking
before.
about youth and family.
Okay, just so I have
But
clarification.
having that audit late did affect the Board of Ed and their numbers through Mariana. So it affects.
Can you clarify
lots of
what
different
numbers?
departments.
Can you clarify what numbers were affected?
I didn't hear you.
So what numbers were affected? Because to my knowledge, I'm not aware of any Board of Ed numbers that were affected from the lateness of the audits.
Okay, I'll talk with Mariana then, and I'll send an email for all of us. That'll be good.
Okay, thank you, we're great.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other ex officio?
Anything
Are
else?
you have anything
No,
else
I'm
coming
done.
for us tonight?
All
Okay.
right, so I attended the Inland Wetlands meeting last night, August 4th, and there was, I just need to find it here. Give me one sec. There's an application to conduct regulated activities within the 300-foot upland review area from wetlands and intercourse associated with the construction of a proposed 13-lot subdivision road. So this is at Mayfield Terrace in East Lyme. So I thought people should be made aware of that. Also at 55 Quarry Lane in Niantic, there was an application for construction of a single-family dwelling, and that one, that was postponed. I guess they didn't have all their papers in order. There will be a public hearing, though, on the Mayfield Terrace property. So I just wanted the public to know that. Also, I also attended the Historic Properties Commission, and while I was there, they were talking about the Samuel Smith's farmstead. They're having a history day on August 15th from 10 to 3. There'll be colonial cooking, demonstrations on art and spinning and clothing and fabrics. Also on August 12th, the state is coming, I guess it is, to award them the preservation grant of 1772, which is about $10,000. They've actually used the money already and redone the basement, and it looks fabulous, but the state is coming, so they're encouraging people to go because they want a lot of people there. And that would be, August 12th at, I guess, around 9:15 to be there. Also, there's a tag sale at Pine Grove on August 15th from 9 to 3, open to the public. And I think it's going to be all the different residents of Pine Grove will have the wares there. So I also did attend a library board meeting. Not too much to report, but yeah, they're just plugging away.
Plugging along.
Yeah.
Great. All right, anyone else? I'll, so just going back to the Sam Smith house, I did see the pictures of the, I mean, they now have, it was a dirt basement, and you had the lolly columns coming down, which were wood, I think, coming down, but now it's all concrete, and now they can really start to secure that building. Until you have a good foundation, you really can't shore up, the rest of the building, but now they can really move forward and start to get that building in a way that will be preserved for a long time to come without things rotting out, falling down. So it's very encouraging.
And we want to thank the town for their part.
Oh, we do what we can, but no, it's really impressive. It's very nice. First Selectmen's report. I don't know if any of you have driven from New London to Old Lyme or past East Lyme, but if you have, you're on the new highway. On I-95. I didn't even realize that I was driving. So wait a minute, something looks different. And so they opened up so everybody's on the new highway. There's still a center lane that'll eventually be opened up, and that'll accommodate I think 3, so it'll be 3 lanes in each direction. You know, they're closing in on the end of that project. Most of the work now is off to the sides. It's either reconfiguring some of the entrance and exit ramps, but, you know, movement over the bridge shouldn't be disturbed. And the rest of the work that they have to do on Route 161, they have enough space now with, you know, with the 3 lanes in each direction, not to actually have to stop the traffic completely as they move towards November. And I believe they're either on schedule or a little bit ahead. So they really, you know, I went to all the construction meetings every week, and it was impressive how they would, you know, their time charts and how they figured it out and made sure that they were on track. It was really amazing as a project to watch how they did it. So very appreciative of Manafort Brothers and State of Connecticut, and I think everybody likes this thing, the East Lyme logo that's up on the bridge. It's going to be on both sides of the bridge. We're not going to shortchange the other side of town. They're going to get the emblems too. So yeah, I think it's a good look, and it really has improved that whole area. So that's that. The Old Town Police Station. So you know, you can see the sign in front of it that the State of Connecticut, in conjunction with the DEDC, Department of Economic Development. So that building's been sitting there. Nothing's been done since 2018, when, you know, we had the new police station. So we were able to get grant money, $200,000, to do an assessment of the building. And there are rumors that there were transformers that are up on the telephone poles that have oil, that have PCBs in them, that were stored there in the 60s. So we don't know if there's contamination in the parking lot. We didn't know what was inside the building, but the first part of phase 1, you have phase 1 and phase 2 assessment. Phase 1 is technically a paperwork search to see if there's any records anywhere that indicate problems. But they actually did an assessment of the inside of the building, and I have that report. I'm going through it, and it'll give us a good indication of the building itself. What do we save it? Do we bulldoze it? What do we do? And I don't want to be premature, so I want to wait till we have the full phase 1 assessment, and so I can share that with the board. And then the second part is phase 2, which is environmental analysis of the parking lot itself. So that'll tell us a lot. You know, we had these suspicions about the transformers, but something that was I was informed by one of the engineers working on it, that one of the concerns is the railroad. So back in the days when you had steam trains burning coal, some of that coal would shoot out, and then there were other things that they used that might have ended up on the parking lot. That might have also been a contaminant. So they're going to check everything out. We're going to get a full report, and then we'll be able to make an informed decision of how we go from there. There is a survey. So far, 200 people have replied to the survey, and it's, you know, we're seeking ideas from the public. You know, is there some scenario where you'd like to see us save the building? Do you think we should absolutely tear it down? But we just need to know the attitude of the public, so we can decide which direction to go to begin to come to some conclusions here. So please, if you have a chance, respond to that. I have a letter from the Department of Corrections, and I'll kind of move into communications. I attended a program at the Department of Corrections, and it's the Building Trades Training Institute Multi-Craft Core Curriculum course. And what that does is, you know, inmates there that are nearing the end of their incarceration, end of their term there are programs to teach them trades. And there were, I think, 3 or 4 women that, I think 2 had chosen to learn the electrical trade, 1 painting, and the other, it was one of the other, maybe it was welding. I think it might have been welding as well. And so when they get out of prison, once they complete their term, they will have these certificates they can take with them, And the head of the Building Trades Union for the state of Connecticut, he was there, and, you know, he addressed each one of them individually and said, look, when you get out of here, you call me, and I'll make sure you get the interviews. I'll make sure that the trade that you're interested in knows who you are. And I was just so impressed. A great thing. And, you know, the goal is to reduce recidivism and give people a pathway so they don't have to do the things you do when you don't have any money and don't have any opportunity. And these women were so proud of those certificates, and I was so happy to be a part of it. So I received a thank you letter from Schroeder Carlos, who's the interim commissioner of the Department of Corrections. So, you know, some good things are happening over there, and it's in our town. So very proud and happy about that. We got some thank you letters from some of the entities we already gave checks to on the program from the, let's see, Homeless Hospitality Center. They were appreciative of the $4,500 donation. And then the SACCEC, that's the Sexual Assault Crisis Center of Eastern Connecticut. We had given them $585, and they're appreciative of that as well. So we got some letters. And then just to inform the board, last meeting we appointed the Chief of Police, Kevin Glenn, to be our Emergency Management Director, and then immediately after I appointed Bill Bundy, the Fire Chief, to be the Deputy EMD. And shortly thereafter, in a day, we had two different events that happened. We had you know, the flooding and the weather and the wind, and so they were called into action in that role within about 24 hours of being appointed. And they worked very well together, and everything went very smoothly. That's my report. Is there any public comment on anything that happened later on in the agenda tonight?
I just had a question. That survey.
Please come to the podium.
I was just curious. That survey that you referenced, as far as the use of the old town police station.
Yes.
Where can we find that?
It's on our website.
On the website.
Yep. Yeah, and also we had a representative from the engineering company, a very competent firm. They were there sitting through the rain on East Lyme Day. They got a half a dozen, you know, filled out there. But I'm surprised we already got over 200. So I really encourage everyone to get involved and let us know. You know, we really want to be open, and this board really wants to receive comments, input from the public. So please do. So Selectmen's response. So, you know, I think, well, normally we don't have a back and forth during delegations. I think it's important for me to say a few words about the showing tonight. There's two different there's a lot of confusion between speed cameras and flock cameras, and, you know, a concern that there's overlap between the two, and how is information protected, and how is it dealt with. And those are all things that, you know, we need to look at. I think it's everybody, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I certainly am interested to have a larger discussion and really receive more input from people. One of the things I did, and one of the, I think, probably surprised everybody on the board, when we were discussing only the speed cameras, it came out that there were several flock cameras in East Lyme. And I've been on the board for, I don't know how many years.
You were an
I mean, I was
eight
yeah.
before this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
10 years.
And I wish Roseanne was here tonight, because she's our board historian.
40.
But I have absolutely no recollection of a discussion about flock cameras in East Lyme. And I don't know if anyone that's here tonight has any recollection, at least in the last 3 or 4 years.
No.
No.
And so that was very concerning to me. And, you know, there's pros and cons to everything, but the fact that we were unaware until we had the discussion on speed cameras that flock cameras are even in our town. So I took it upon myself to start reviewing past budgets, and I wanted to see when the line item originated in our past budgets for flock cameras. And then I'm doing research to see what the purchase orders were. So I'm going to get to the bottom of that, and we're going to get to the bottom of it as a board, I am sure. And we're going to figure out where that started. And that'll be a good starting point, I think, for a larger discussion of do we want them, do we not want them, the pros and cons, Fourth Amendment rights. We got a few lawyers in the room here, and I think we're all very sensitive to constitutional rights, and it's something that is serious. You don't want to get a $50 ticket if you weren't really speeding, but far more important is, if you feel that there's something going on and you feel the need to protest or do what you want, you do not want Big Brother coming down and finding out who you are and putting the thumb on you. I think that's a huge concern. I get it. And so we have to explore it. We have to see if there's some way to have controls that we can rely on. But it's a big question, and one that we're going to take up, and I'm sure. And we'll move forward on that discussion. And so I'm going to take a step back and find out where it originated. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to share it with my board members, and then we're going to see what's what. So that's my selectmen's response. We are now going to we're going to have an executive session. We can retreat to my office, and then when we come out of executive session, we may or may not take some action, and then we're going to adjourn.
Okay. I'll move to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters, and it is 8:36.
I'll second.
And
All right, we're going
all
back. We're
all
going
those in
back.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, we can go.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion. Okay, the board entered into executive session, as we said, at 8:36 p.m. The board returned at 8:46 p.m. and it was stated no formal votes were taken. Okay. I'll move to authorize the first selectman to act as per the discussion in executive session.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Do we want to enumerate that a bit more?
Do we need
That sounds a
to?
little shadowy to me.
We can just authorize, maybe modify it, say authorize the first selectman to sign a mutual release.
Okay, so move to authorize the first selectman to sign a mutual release as discussed in executive session. Okay,
I'll second.
all right.
Any further discussion?
Will the contents of that ever be disclosed to the public?
Only if there's a FOIA claim that is successful.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be part of a personnel file.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So let's call the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I'll move to adjourn the August 5th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen at 8:48 p.m.
Do we hear a second? We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.